Okay, we're going to be looking at the impact of the European colonization of Australia today. All right. What did it mean for the Europeans who moved into Australia? All right. Um, and for the people who were already there, the Aborigines. Okay. So you're going to see two groups, and they're going to take two totally different paths. One is going to move up the social ladder, and one is going to move down the social ladder. All right. Let's take a look. So first, in terms of European exploration, the Dutch tried to take over Australia in 1606. It was a bit too early. The Aborigines are going to be able to fight them off. Okay, but by 1770, about 170 years later, okay, the English come back and they have more firepower than the Dutch had. All right, by this point, far superior weapons. Okay, the weapons had in that 170-year time span, European weapons had really progressed. Aborigines weapons pretty much have stayed the same. Okay, so they're going to reclaim the land for England, and basically began to move the Aboriginals towards inland. That is what we now call the outback. All right, and this was started by this guy James Cook. All right, very nice video on him. I'll push that up later. Now, it says prisoners as colonists. So what the British decided to do, because they had just lost control of their first penal colony, which was here in the state of Georgia. Right here, good old Georgia was settled by convicts, prisoners from Britain. Okay, well, now that they no longer are able to send their overcrowded jail cells over to the Americas, they had to find a new place, and that new place becomes Australia. All right, this was great because there was no chance of escape. Like it wasn't other colonies around it. The indigenous people there looked totally different, so there was no way of mixing in. All right. Now, when the British moved in, the Aborigine people who were there are going to have many of the same problems that Native Americans had. They're going to die from diseases like smallpox. Okay. Meanwhile, the prisoners or the convicts who moved there, once they serve their time, these will become the colonists of this new place called Australia. Okay, so once they have served their time, they're going to move out and get land and begin to set up their own farms and become the colonists. All right. Now, Great Britain used this to their advantage. They're going to be able to have a base here in the south part of the Pacific, so they can keep an eye on an old power like China. And they also were going to be able to conduct trade in Asia and the Americas. So this is going to be a big boom for them. All right. Commonwealth of Australia. Now, the reason they call it a Commonwealth is because it belongs to Great Britain. All right. So it's a distant land that still falls under the guise of ownership by Britain. All right. So in 1901, even though, again, it's called the Commonwealth. All right. That means Britain still controls it. Now, they were allowed to make a lot of their own decisions here in Australia, but they were under British control. Okay. Now, the Aborigines, okay, there we go. The Aborigines, the people who were there before the British showed up, all right, are going to have some problems because their land, their wealth is going to be taken. So they're going to go from the richest people in Australia to the poorest people in Australia. Now, they did live under what we consider today a traditional society. All right. where everything was shared, and they live by simple means. But all of their land is going to be taken. They're going to be pushed towards the middle part of Australia, and the best farming lands are going to be taken over by the new colonists, the former convicts from Britain. All right. And later on, by the time we get to 1905, these former convicts are going to decide, you know what? We need to assimilate the Aborigines. And what they're going to do to speed up this process is they're going to begin to literally kidnap or take the children of some of the Aborigines and place them with white parents, in order to force assimilation. That is, to force them to begin to adopt British ways. That is, speak English, dress like them, begin to adopt Christianity, all right, but culturally become more like the British. All right. This group of people were called the Stolen Generation. Okay. Please make sure you add that to your notes. Very important. All right. This stops in 1967 when Australia finally begins to recognize Aborigines as Australians. Okay. That is, they begin to get full rights of citizenship. All right. This is what, and you can see they look different than the Europeans. So they're easy to identify. Dark skin. All right. These people would have come out of what is today southern India. All right. And migrated over towards Australia. All right. Now, 1986, Australia completely breaks away from the English Empire. That is, they still recognize Queen Elizabeth as their queen, but they have their own parliament, all right, where they make all of the laws. So Britain has no control over Australia today, all right. This is where one of their most popular cities, Brisbane, and this is where their government is headquartered. Okay. Now, review questions. If you would, I want you to answer these 5 questions, and you can either email them or you can submit them to the assignment box. Okay, I got 5 questions for you to answer. Make sure you number them appropriately, and you do not have to write the questions, but do answer them so that I can understand what you have done. All right.